Luke 12:2. And it reads, "For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known." Call halal, Yahawah, BAHASHAM, Yahawashi, BAHASHAM, Rakaha, Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles, double honors unto the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. To the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth among the heathen that look like those heathen, this is not a black thing. And to the few Yahawah that are listening and learning, to you, I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Greatmillstone here in Chicago, coming at you with another lesson in truth. And I'm looking for a precept. Before I read it, I just want to check it. Yeah, this is Matthew 10:26, and it reads, "Fear them not," and this is in red, so this is Yahawashi speaking, who the world fraudulently, who Christians fraudulently and falsely call Jesus Christ. The letter J wasn't invented until 1534. All right, so they purposely and fraudulently, mislead the people into the improper name. Proper nouns do not translate. You can just watch the evening news, when they're speaking on any geopolitical subject matter. When they bring up a world leader's name, a military leader's name, they say their name in their language, regardless of the language that's being spoken in the news broadcast. So you can't take the highest name, the name of the Most High, all right, which is Yahawah, and then, change it into your language. You don't do that. His name, he's a Hebrew God. The language of heaven is Hebrew. As a matter of fact, it tells you in the book of Acts that when the Lord spoke to Paul and the company that he was with, he spoke to him in the Hebrew tongue. So Hebrew is the language of heaven. You don't translate the Lord's name to your English name, or to your Latin name, or your Greek name. You don't do that. All right. So any people who would do that, well, that should let you know that those people aren't right in the first place. All right, because you can speak your language, but you'd have to say the names, the name of the Lord properly. But this is Matthew 10:26, and it reads, "Fear them not, therefore, for there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, and hid that shall not be known." All right, so all these lies are coming out. And this guy talks about these people aren't representing his Christianity. It's like, fool, Christians have spilled more blood on this planet than any other group of people in the history of mankind. All right. World War I, World War II, and all the wars in between. America is 246 years old. All right. And 23 of those years they've been at war. Usually taking someone else's land or having a coup army, to overthrow and do it for them. Proxy armies, proxy wars. Right. And we're talking, and then when you look at the amount that's died from other things that were caused by Americans. All right. Because I'm going to play this video and let you hear the hypocrisy, because now that the curses are falling upon Esau, Edom, he wants to talk that we stuff, like we're all in this together, brother. No, we want your brother when you were burning our neighborhoods. We want your brother when you were teaching us a second and third class education on purpose. We want a brother when you were redlining, when you were not allowing us to get home loans, to get business loans, when you were destroying our neighborhoods, when you were separating the men from the families and giving the women special treatment and bringing them into the workplace, and while not giving the men the jobs and the opportunities to support and take care of their families. Taking it away from them and giving a woman all kinds of treats if she removed the man from the house. And look at the households now. But the beauty of that matter is that that same wicked policy is now destroying Edomite families, because guess what? Now Edomites are in and out of court for child support. Edomite men are becoming baby daddies. Yeah. So, you know, it's like Haman, the lapse, you know, when Haman got hung on the same gallows that he had built to destroy the Israelites, and he and his family being destroyed on them. Well, guess what? That's going to happen again. All right. So let me play. This is just as a quick hit. The Spirit was on me. You know, I had a conversation again with that same Elamite this morning about how, you know, it ain't looking too good for America, and basically the whole world is on to the fake, you know who, the JOOs. The whole world knows that they're not the people of the Lord. It's like, why keep up the shenanigans? They look foolish even making those claims now. The whole world knows that they're converted, that they're not the people. All right. And that they're the same as this man. All right. Though, you know, you can't go by flesh. All right. All right. Because this man's spirit is a little different, you know, but nevertheless, his presence, his look is a representation of Edom, even if he's not Edom himself. Because I just said this isn't a black thing. Remember, the Israelites are scattered among all people. All right. But nevertheless, Esau is being destroyed. All right. He's being exposed and he's being destroyed. So let me turn the sound up. Allow this to play.
We would back them militarily.
Let's go back.
And going to be disastrous. I'm going to walk what's coming is going to be disastrous. I'm going to walk you through it. This tape was just released by the United States of the Saudis from 9/11, showing their involvement in what happened. You want to know why we haven't seen it until now? Because of the U.S. petrodollar. So the reason that we are so wealthy is we made an agreement with in the 1970s with Saudi Arabia that if they would only trade in U.S. currency, we would back them militarily, and they would only trade oil in U.S. currency. So it has kept us wealthy, and it has kept them safe. Well, now they do most of their deals in other countries. China, specifically India, specifically Russia. And they do more business there than here. So just a week or two ago, they decided they're not going to renew that agreement, which puts our entire economy at risk. And suddenly our government releases this tape. Why is that important? I just want you to understand what's happened in the past. There are a few countries that have refused to use U.S. currency in the past. I'm going to name them for you. Iraq, Iran, Venezuela, North Korea, Afghanistan. Are those starting to sound familiar to you? And now Saudi Arabia has said they're not going to renew their deal with the United States, putting our entire economy at risk. And now this video surfaces from 20 years ago, suddenly it appears, showing that they were involved in 9/11. Just understand what's coming. What's coming is a full-scale collapse of the U.S. dollar, a full-scale collapse of the U.S. economy. And we are headed into very dangerous territory. And what looks like they're setting up for another major war. But this time, it's not going to be these little wars that never reach the home front. I'm just telling you right now, they're moving into something very dangerous. We need to pray for this country, because I'll tell you this right now. The people at the top don't represent my Christian values. These are gangsters. And they've been using gangster tactics all these years to keep things under control, to keep us on top instead of doing it righteously. And now we're backed into a corner. And they're doing what gangsters do. They're putting all of us at risk. What's coming?
You know, gangsters out the gate. All right. The true gangster, the true thug. Remember, drive-by shootings that was something started here in Chicago by white men, gangsters. Italian gangsters, Irish gangsters, and Jewish gangsters. Yes. Jewish mafia was big here. And, you know, I actually have the book with this guy. Even and then in that book, it even tells you that they push to remove that from it. Don't know, you know, just to say gangster, you know, and not to stop saying Jewish gangsters. Okay, so when people hear gangster, they immediately associated with Al Capone and Babyface Nelson, and like the trucks they got that they're making money off of for tourism around here. All right, but just know that Al Capone's lieutenant and his attorney Guzman, all right, were converts. JOOs. Okay. So, because, you know, just follow the money, as Columbo told you that. All right. Because what he said, and I'm going to let that video play again just to let it sink in. But what he said is absolutely true. It's not what's putting America at risk. America is finished. It's just a matter of time. It just got to play out. Prices and everything are already starting to skyrocket and creep up yet again. And they were already too high for the average person. And it's just going to continue to go up now that, you know, that Saudi Arabia is no longer using the U.S. currency, you know, as the world reserve currency. And speaking with that Elamite client of mine earlier, you know, he was talking about how those people are going to find themselves, you know, that because I made the statement that all he did was that Benjamin Milkowski, and he pointed out that he was born, his family was here from America. I didn't even know that. All right. He also told me, too, that growing up in Bangladesh all throughout school, that they learned that the Middle East was Western Asia, same as I've been telling you for well over a year now. He said it didn't become the Middle East until he came over here. But when they're learning in school, because it's all Asia, including Europe, that's why they call it Euro-Asia. All right. You can walk from France all the way to the edge of the sea and jump on a boat and go to Japan. All right. From the Atlantic to the to the Pacific. All right. It's one landmass. So everything you've learned, everything you've seen coming out of the mouths of these so-called white people is all been lies, and it's still lies. And now they want to bring up this tape about the Saudis being involved in 9/11 when that was being said a week after it happened, 2 weeks after it happened, a couple years after. But then all those people got labeled as conspiracy theorists. People like Alex Jones, because see, tapes like this and information like this just proves him to be right. So you go on these witch hunts to go after these people who were trying to speak some truth, and you know, and now you demonize them, and it's turning out that they were right all along. Same thing when it comes to medical malpractices. Right? All the information is coming out that all the conspiracy people were right. The conspiracy people, you know, all the check marks in the win column, all the deniers, 0. Okay? But I tell you what's going to happen when he said that this thing is going to lead to a bunch of issues. You're absolutely right. What's headed this way? What's headed this way is civil war, and the civil war is going to also it's a civil war / racial war, because in that civil war you're going to have a bunch of guerrilla type tactics from all these good old boy white militias that are all over the country, and they're going to go after everything that's darker than them, not just so-called blacks and Hispanics, Arabs, Chinese, anyone. And not to mention that you also had an influx of people that came into this country of that persuasion. And a lot of them are going to make up the military. America doesn't have enough sons to fight for it that are even physically capable or mentally able, because you've mentally disabled the youth with all this confusion with their pronouns and genders and all this other shit. And you've made them extremely soft and weak. All right, with this bicycle helmet wearing, you know, everybody get a medal fucking generations. All right, these last, you know, 30 years or so. You know, these a nation of pussies. All right, that's you know, that's quick to pull a gun and shoot their own people, shoot their mamas and daddies at home. You get a whole lot of that going on in America. But yeah, they won't go fight for their country though. This is not the home of the brave. This is the home of the bend over and take it. Because a lot of things that the government are doing goes against the law of the land. And if this were other countries, they would have already rose up and kicked people out of houses and burned down out of the legal houses that they're in, and you know, meaning the offices and that sort of thing. And they already would have replaced them with people who were for the people in other countries. Americans have lost their nerve and their grit. All right. But let's go to 2nd Esdras real quick. A couple more scriptures. In the Apocrypha. This is 2nd Esdras 6 and 7. And I'm going to start at 22, read through 24. All right, because the whole chapter of 2nd Ezra 15 and 16 is on the table now. I mean, we are moments away from that being the condition of the whole country. Go read 2nd Ezra 15 and 16. But this is 2nd Ezra 6 and 22, and it reads, "And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, and the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty." And I'm going to tell you, man, the stores are getting emptier and emptier. They just keep spreading out product. All right. And then not only are they getting emptier and emptier, the properties, all the commercial property, they're going under. You got whole office buildings that are empty. You got all these people that got used to working at home, and now you're about to lay all them off because you're going to replace them with AI and machines. That's going to also cause the riots and the insurrections, etc., etc. All right, but it says, "And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, and the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. And the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid. And at that time shall friends stand up and fight against one another like enemies. That's your left and your right hand side, and everything in between. And the earth shall stand in fear of those that dwell therein, and the springs of fountains shall stand still, and in 3 hours there shall not." There's going to be no water, no power, no electricity. So there's going to be malnutrition, rape, rob, and murder, which is already in America, but it's going to increase to a time like you've never seen. This is going to be like watching the movie Escape from New York, Escape from LA. All right, there was a movie that came out some years ago, and I can't remember the name of it. It was actually a pretty good movie, and it was about how some virus spread, and they put up a giant wall. I think it was around Ireland or Scotland, and they left the people inside of there. Doomsday. Watch that movie, Doomsday. That's what it was called. And they put up like a 50-foot wall, and then they put machine gun turrets on it. Anything that moved close to the wall got shot down, and the people inside developed an immunity to the virus. But it was complete and total anarchy in there, and they were doing what? They were attacking and killing and eating each other. All right, and anybody that came in there doing the same, and they contained the disease within those walls. But guess what? Somehow it got out and started affecting the cities on the outside, and they sent in a military crew to go bring back one of the individuals on the inside so they can use their blood, to create a vaccine, a cure. All right. And when the team went in, well, you can only imagine what happened to them. They didn't fare so well. So basically what this said, you can't stop these plagues. You can't stop these things from coming. They're coming. All right. Let's get this last scripture. Then I'm going to let this video play again. This is Luke 12 and not 12, but 8 and 17. And it reads as follows: "For nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad." So all your dirty little secrets, all right, including the fact that the so-called white man, he's trying to put it off on everyone. He's trying to eat them everybody. He's trying to say it's the Arabs now. No. The so-called white man, the descendants of Alexander of Macedon, all right, who took over Greece from the melanated brown-skinned Etruscans in Eurasia, all right, that took over Rome, all right, took over and over different parts of in the area of Gog and Magog, with all those the lands of Japhet, and Japhet was a melanated people. They didn't look like this guy. There's relics left behind of them for anyone who wants to open a stupid ass mouth and say otherwise. They're relics of them. You can't deny the facts. Their relics were left behind, and they were clearly not so-called white people. As a matter of fact, their descendants are still running around the earth today. You call them Hawaiians and Samoans, these made up terms, Pacific Islanders and all that, whatever. All titles made up by Esau Edom, the so-called white man, trying to hide who he is. All right, so let's let this video play yet again. Let's take it back to the beginning.
To be disastrous. I'm going to walk you through it. This tape was just released by the United States of the Saudis from 9/11, showing their involvement in what happened. You want to know why we haven't seen it until now? Because of the U.S. petrodollar. So the reason that we are so wealthy is we made an agreement with the 1970s with Saudi Arabia that if they would only trade in U.S. currency, we would back them militarily, and they would only trade oil in U.S. currency. So
here's the hypocrisy in that. All so-called white people were well aware of this. All right, even though many so-called Negroes and Latinos, they were not aware of this. And so-called white people had no problem living prosperously off of these other countries being turned into third world countries as a result of it. The same way they live prosperously off of you being pushed into ghettos and redlined and not given home loans and business loans and able to do the same things that they do financially. Just keep that in mind.
It's kept us wealthy and it has kept them safe. Well, now they do most of their deals in other countries. China, specifically, India, specifically, Russia. And they do more business there than here. So just a week or two ago, they decided they're not going to renew that agreement, which puts our entire economy at risk. And suddenly our government releases this tape. Why is that important? I just want you to understand what's happened in the past. There are a few countries that have refused to use U.S. currency in the past. I'm going to name them for you. Iraq, Iran, Venezuela, North Korea, Afghanistan. Are those starting to sound familiar to you? And now Saudi Arabia has said they're not going to renew their deal with the United States, putting our entire economy at risk. And now this video surfaces from 20 years ago, suddenly it appears, showing that they were involved in 9/11. Just understand what's coming. What's coming is a full-scale collapse of the U.S. dollar, a full-scale collapse of the U.S. economy. And we are headed into very dangerous territory. And it looks like they're setting up for another major war. But this time,
Doomsday.
It's not going to be these little wars that never reach the home front. I'm just telling you right now, they're moving into something very dangerous. You need to pray for this country, because I'll tell you this right now. The people at the top don't represent my Christian values. These are gangsters.
We heard enough. Christian values. Christian values is what got you to the place, your government, to where it is and what it's doing. Those same Christian values that he's talking about. This is Jeremiah 30 and 16. We'll wrap it up. And it reads, therefore, all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thine adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity, and they that spoiled thee shall be spoiled. And all they that prey upon thee will I give for a prey. Call halal, Yahawah, BAHASHAM, Yahawashi, BAHASHAM, Kahak Wadash, Kwam Yasharala, Abad Babal.